I think this is the most intriguing part of the whole show right here.
Yep.
What is the under the radar recruiting win that Tennessee had to date? And we're not talking about Arian Carter. Who are we talking about?
Grant Frerking.
That's his name for real. For those, he's a wide receiver at Tennessee right now.
He's number 0. Senior.
So what happened today?
Well, I think we need to take a step backwards because most people probably don't know Grant Frerking's story. Grant Frerking went to Wesleyan Academy in Johns Creek, Georgia, right outside Atlanta. While he was in high school, he started a landscaping company. If you've ever been around Atlanta, there is no mulch. Everybody uses pine straw. There's pine straw everywhere. Grant
Rustin used to live outside of Atlanta, just so you know.
Oh yeah, a whole yard was nothing but pine straw. And so Grant turned his landscaping company into a pine straw company called Metro Straw. This is while he's a high school student. By the time he got to UT, he had built that business to a 7-figure-a-year business. He was making over $1 million in his dorm room at UT. When NIL became a thing, Grant had gone through all this entrepreneurial training. He was making more than all the professors on campus, so they kind of had to let him do whatever he wanted to do. And so when NIL came along, he was the person that everybody was going to around the UT campus trying to learn how to do NIL well, because he had already marketed a multi-million-dollar company as a 22-year-old, 21-year-old.
And just to interject one thing here, kudos to the University of Tennessee. They were so prepared for the advent of NIL. Yeah. They were the first university in the country that is literally the day NIL partnerships went into effect and became legal. They announced that they had a program set up to where all of their student athletes could major in something and also receive a minor in entrepreneurship. That was genius by them. That was a genius move.
And Grant played a major role in that. He was the student advisor that was involved in all of those planning concepts. So when NIL hit, Grant became the guy in college athletics. Other athletes were calling him, asking, how do I do this? What should I be thinking? Well, today, On3 Sports announced that the day after the Orange Bowl, Grant Frerking is their new Director of Athlete Network Development. Now, that's a huge title. And what it really means is Grant is the guy. On3 is a multi-million-dollar, $100 million company that spans the entire country. Grant is going to be the guy teaching every high-profile athlete, high school athlete in America, how they should be thinking about NIL and how to create their NIL valuation through On3. So what did I just say? Number 0 at the Orange Bowl, the day after the Orange Bowl, is going to walk into an office at On3 Sports and have immediate contact with every high-profile high schooler in America. No matter how many,
advantageous.
Yeah. And right now, one of the top NIL collectives in America is Spire Sports at UT. Who Grant
is also very much involved.
Who Grant is also extremely connected to. So when you talk recruiting win,
well, just to make a point about that, how involved Grant is. Obviously, VolQuest is Tennessee's On3 network, affiliate. And if you recall, if you go back to the night of the Alabama victory, go scroll through Austin Price's tweets. One of his tweets is he finds Grant on the field and asks him who the leader in college sports is, and Grant, holding a cigar in one hand and his helmet in the other hand, surrounded by students, is yelling, "On3, baby!" Like promoting On3. From this isn't like a oh, well, look what happened kind of thing. They've been in talks, I'm sure, for quite a
Mhm.
while because they respect Grant's NIL mind and his entrepreneurial
Yep.
mind. And like Rustin said earlier, people have been coming to him. Other players have been coming to him. He's been the forerunner in NIL deals, and he never hardly ever steps on the field.
Not
But
not
he's
just at UT, from schools all over the country. He's been advising guys at Alabama, Auburn, LSU. I mean, the whole country comes to him.
and so like Rustin said, surely there will be contracts involved with he can't openly recruit for the University of Tennessee and stuff like that. But if he's talking to some high school kid and the kid's asking him straight up, like, what would you do if, in this situation? How would you do this? He can't remove the memories that he has of things that Spire Sports did and the Spire group, with Tennessee's collective. Those are direct experiences and contacts that he has in mind. And he's like, I mean, surely there will be times he's like, well, Spire did it this way, and
Mhm.
he could say what they did well, and that kind of thing. Like that, those things will come to his mind. He can't just remove those from his memory.
Well,
And
and let
so
me and let me take that a step further. I mean, one of his roles at On3 is he's helping high school kids figure out what their valuation is.
yes.
What better way to find out their valuation than to call Spire Sports and go, "What do you value this kid at?"
Yep. And On3 was the first major recruiting network to introduce the NIL value of a player.
Yep.
And one of the first people that was tweeting about it and talking about it was Grant.
Mhm.
Like he was promoting it all the way. I saw him do that near the beginning of this season.
Yep.
So he was already working with On3 back then. I mean, this has been in the works for a while now. He was
Mhm.
already working with them back then, talking about NIL valuations and stuff like that. He is going. I mean, kudos to him, first of all, that he has this mind to see a potential opportunity and attack it, and man, just knock it out of the park. But he is going to be extremely influential in the valuations of different players.
Yeah.
So he's going to be in close contact with them. This is certainly an under the radar recruiting win for the University of Tennessee.
This is the kind of thing that you know, it kind of was announced this afternoon. On3 made a big deal out of it. It didn't really get a whole lot of national publicity. So it
Because
kind of slipped.
major announcements like Arian
Right.
Carter were happening.
Right. So it just kind of slipped through. But this is the kind of thing, honestly, if this goes the way it potentially could, this is the kind of thing that for the next 3 to 5 years, Tennessee benefits from significantly and might be a program changing event that people 5 years from now look back at and point to and go, if we hadn't had Grant sitting over there, I'm not sure we would have been able to do all this.
Yeah.
It's it's a much bigger deal than people realize.
And even if he's not, walking into a school with a Tennessee shirt on and stuff, which I'm sure he can't do that. But even if he's walking in there, the player's going to ask him, "Where'd you go to school?" You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And so that just him being able to say University of Tennessee, they're going to think, "Man, well, will I be as successful as this guy when I come out of school? If I don't get in the NFL or something like that."
Yeah.
This is a win for the University of Tennessee and Grant for sure. Um, this is a huge deal. So, and now that some high school associations like ours right here in Tennessee just introduced NIL deals are legal now for high school
Yeah.
athletes, and that's a whole new ball game for high school coaches, high school athletic departments. And Grant can be an asset to those people and develop relationships with high school athletic directors and high school coaches. He can be an invaluable asset to them too. And don't you think On3 would love that because
Hmm.
their primary consumer network is high school athletics, and if they have a person who is going into these schools and helping these schools with their athletes, this is a super win. This is a super win, and
Yep.
it won't get the national pub, but it's a big deal.
Yeah. I think what you're going to see is Tennessee as a state, Tennessee high school is going to be way ahead of a lot of the rest of the country in NIL
Potentially.
because of Spire Sports, because of
Yep.
the model they've already seen created at UT, and because of Grant's new role.
Mm.
I think you're going to see, and it's a pro and a con. Pandora's box is fully open now. I,
Oh
under,
yeah.
I understand why the TSSAA did it. Their hands were tied. It was a lawsuit waiting to happen if they didn't, just like it has been in several other states. But there's no way. I mean, the running joke in Tennessee is the TSSAA struggles to police anything. So
Yeah.
now we're talking about trying to police NIL deals.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
Well, and to the point that you just made about Spire, um, just so we're all clear, Spire is the NIL collective affiliated with the University of Tennessee. From the get-go, they were aggressive in how they approached the situation as far as NIL sponsorships, period, across the board. They were aggressive in how they approached it. They were wise in how they approached it. And I think you could probably ask tons of people nationally what university has the best collective, and they're going to say Spire. Like that,
Yeah.
it is a standard by which other collectives can look at and say that's how it should be done.
There's a
'Cause they've
lot of
done a phenomenal
collectives.
job.
Yeah, there's a lot of collectives in the SEC that just straight copied what Spire was doing because they were so far ahead of them. It was easy to look at
Yeah.
their model and go, okay, we're going to do that.
And think about right now with On3, they have uh, a podcast every single week called oh goodness, what is it? It's a volunteer. Um, well, the name eludes me right now.
Volunteer club.
Confidential, volunteer confidential. That's what it is, and it's sponsored by the Volunteer Club, which is Spire. That's
Hmm.
their group, and
Yep.
so I mean they even like Austin Price will on air when they're recording because they have different players from Tennessee on the show. Like one of the most fascinating ones was Brew McCoy when they had him on there. Um, and it's called Volunteer Confidential, and it's Austin Price and one or two players sitting in a room talking, and
But
it's
even
it's
but even that is an NIL deal because it's a pay
mhm,
per
yep,
subscription. So, the players are on
and
there being interviewed and getting one-on-ones, but the players are actually making money off of it.
yep, and Austin Price mentions Spire in the as he's introducing the show that it's sponsored by Spire. So this is a big deal, and it could pay a lot of really positive benefits for Tennessee down the line
Mhm.
because he's a smart kid, and he's going to be able to do this effectively, and kudos to him, man. Really happy for him that people noticed his ability, his entrepreneurial mind, and it's paying off for him. Kudos to him
Well,
for that.
it was hard to argue with when he was making more than every professor on campus.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.